What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at two trades I took on EURUSD. If at any point you find anything in these videos helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm and spreads my videos to more people who could use the help, and it'll also notify you when I post new videos. With that being said, let's just jump right into these trades. If you guys haven't watched any of my videos in the past, you know what I'm looking for, and that is head and shoulder patterns, baby. That's what works for me like 95% of the time, and I'm not changing it up until I start losing. So the first thing that we notice right here is that we have what could be a head and shoulders pattern. At the time when I saw this, all I saw was this and back. Okay, none of this had formed yet. So when I saw this, I was like, man, if this is going to end up being a head and shoulders pattern, I need to check out and see if this is going to happen in a key area in the market. So we grab our rectangle tool and we drag it into the past, and you can see that this is a very strong resistance area in the market, and price hasn't broken it since it became a resistance. So for me, this makes my trade idea valid, so I'm going to continue forward looking for a trade idea that's going to end up being a sell until price breaks that resistance point. So if we go down to a smaller time frame, because it's much more detailed and it allows us to mitigate our risk much more. If you don't look for entries on smaller time frames, I suggest looking into it and seeing how it works out for you. So the first thing that I notice is we've got our head and shoulder pattern right here. Okay, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So what are we going to do? We'll take our rectangle tool from the top of the highest shoulder to the bottom of the lowest. And this is the area that we get. This is our neckline area. This is where we're going to be looking for our entries, okay? So we can drag that into the future because we're going to wait for price to retest that area. I also noticed that we have this trend right here that gets broken, which also signals that price is breaking structure, and now it's going to be going into a downtrend, which is what we're looking for, because remember, we're trading underneath a resistance point, so we're looking for sells. We're also trading a reversal pattern at a key resistance point, which also signals for another sell. So overall, everything is still valid, and everything that I'm seeing is pointing to a sell. So my trade idea is still valid until I see something that tells me it's not. So that's what I'm looking for. So now once we see trend break this right here, break structure, we are just waiting for price to come back into this area, which it does right here. But before that happens, I also notice on the way down, we form another head and shoulders, except this one is inverted. So if we draw our trend line right here, we do the same exact thing. Let's go ahead and mark it from the highest to the lowest right here, which ends up roughly being exactly the same on both ends. And we just drag this into the future, and we wait for price to what? Come back into that neckline. So it comes up, comes right back down, hits the trend line, and it holds right here at this neckline. So I took my trade off of this reversal pattern right here. Now, overall, our large trade that we're looking for based off that 4-hour time frame we originally looked at is a sell. So we know that this buy is going to be a very short-term buy, and I ended up just taking it to the point where price started this pattern, which is right here. So this was an extremely small trade, but I wasn't too worried about it because everything was lining up. So this trade, it netted me about 8 pips, and I risked about 6 pips. So overall, this is not a trade I would suggest to new traders, but for me, I just decided even if I lose, it's only 6 pips, so it's not a big deal. But if you're a beginner, you always want to look for like 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 trades, at least anything under that, and it's really a 50-50 chance that you're going to win or lose because of the risk to reward ratio. So I took that trade, got that one out of the way. Then we noticed that price comes back up here, and guess what? It forms another head and shoulders. Look, we have the left shoulder here, we have the head right here, we have the right shoulder right here. And if we go from the top of the right shoulder to the bottom of the left, which is right here, I'll get this out of the way so it's a little bit cleaner, we can see that we now have our neckline formed. We drag that into the future. So what are we looking at? We have an entry here, we have an entry here, we have an entry here, and you could even take an entry here if you wanted to, but personally I would just stay away from it. That doesn't go with my trading style. But I ended up taking my trade right here off of this candle because this is a reversal pattern right here. This candle is, it's showing you that the buyers pretty much lost all of their power and that the sellers are about to take over. And you can see that the buyers and sellers are fighting right here until the sellers eventually just take over anyways, which was signaled by both of these candles. So if we go ahead and grab this, I'll show you what my profit and stop loss looked like. We're going to mark that at the top. It was 7 pips, and you got to remember that we originally looked at this trade on the 4 hours, so that's what we're going to use to figure out where to get out of the trade. And we did that down here at this at this level right here, because this is the level that started this head and shoulders pattern. Anything past this to me just becomes risky, and we can see that once price does pass that, we get a push up, another large push down, and a push right back up into this area. So for me, I'd rather just grab my profits and dip. So we risked 7 pips on that for 43, and we made like what, 7 or 6 pips, maybe it was 9, I can't remember on the other one. So in total we made roughly 50 pips, and altogether we risked like 12 or 13. So overall, that's a pretty good trade. That's almost a 4-to-1 ratio. Super easy. If you're confused, leave a comment below, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Pew, pew.